Hey, my name's Frank. I'm making this video in response to Eumieverse's video, I Can't Wait to Be 80. I've never watched their channel before, never seen any of their videos, but for some reason the YouTube algorithm decided to show me their video tonight. I don't know if it was because of the philosophy hashtag. I tend to watch a lot of philosophy, but I felt compelled to respond because I felt like I had been in a similar situation before and wanted to kind of give my 2 cents, for lack of a better word. Not that anybody asked, but just because I felt like I had been in a similar situation before in my life. Unlike Yumi, I am now 31 years old. And after I put their video through like a transcript creator, a quote stuck out to me. They said, "But just like indulging in what it means to not be so incredibly overwhelmed by all the possible options of your future." And that's why they wanted to be 80. Um, I've been in my life, in my 31 years, been in therapy for almost half of it. My parents divorced when I was 15, so we had to go to court mandated therapy and then have been in and out of it for various reasons, which I'll get into in a second. And something that I learned through years of therapy is that the mindset of depression is when the mind is stuck in the past, and the mindset of anxiety is when the mind is stuck in the future. And as somebody who was a chronic overachiever, as you can tell by my wall behind me, I had a lot of anxiety growing up, self-imposed anxiety, not from my family, mainly just I had very high expectations of myself. I graduated undergrad in 3 years. I got involved in politics very quickly after that, did graduate school 2 years after that, and this is all around the time that Donald Trump got elected for the first time. And it was tough, mainly because a lot of the plans that I had made when I was younger about going to law school changed as I explored different legal careers, as I did legal internships and a bunch of different things, and figured out that that wasn't where my passion lied, as I was a person that always followed my passion growing up. And that led me to a place where I was very fortunate and could do what I wanted to do, and was in graduate school and was kind of there because I didn't want to do politics and become a lobbyist, but because I actually wanted to do something that was more productive and like a hard science. But when I was in graduate school, three of my close friends were all diagnosed with cancer at the same time. So my childhood best friend, a really close friend from college, and then a friend in my hometown where I was living and ended up doing a lot of political work. And two of them died. My best friend David died from colorectal cancer, the same cancer that claimed Chadwick Boseman, and Milton died of B-cell leukemia. And thank God Liz survived. She had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And they all had it my first semester of college. And David and I were extremely close. We were 14 days apart. And his little sister and my little sister were a month apart. So our families hung out a lot growing up. And even though my family ended up moving and we traveled a lot, we stayed close throughout the years. And so that one hit me particularly hard. And he called me several times when he was going through chemo. And I ended up, like the week before my first finals, ended up flying down to be with him and his family in Sarasota in hospice because he was dying, and I had to postpone my finals. But I knew that when I was 80, if I wasn't there for my best friend on his deathbed, that I would have a lot of regrets. And that's kind of what I wanted to impart. One of the things I wanted to impart on this video is don't get caught up in overthinking and that you can't see the forest through the trees. Graduate school was extremely important. I went to Johns Hopkins. It was like one of the proudest moments of my life when I got in for graduate school. But in the scheme of things, being there for my friend when he needed me and his family asked me to be there, and he asked me to be there, was way more important than school. And my professors ended up letting me retake my finals, and use their discretion where they had it, because I needed to be somewhere else. Yeah, and I had to go to Milton's funeral. Thank God Liz is doing a lot better now. She's married with a child. But yeah, so when you're 23 and you have a lot of anxiety about the future, it can be overwhelming. There's a quote, and there's a reason I'm actually wearing this shirt, from one of my favorite Rick and Morty episodes. And it's when they're the Pickle Rick episode, and the quote is, it's Dr. Wong talking to Rick in pickle form. "I have no doubt that you would be bored senseless by therapy, the same way I'm bored when I brush my teeth and wipe my ass. Because the thing about maintaining, repairing, and cleaning is it's not an adventure. There's no way to do it so wrong that you might die. It's just work." And not only is therapy work, it's emotional work. It's to help you process emotions like anxiety when you get overwhelmed because you don't know where to put your attention and you have too many things like all screaming like you should do this, you should do that, and there's too much awareness. I consider myself somebody that's very aware of the political situation, and it can be very overwhelming. And therapy, what I've worked on over many years again, is being present. Living life is about a journey. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I could kind of see that thread in your video. Like, I could hear that in the way you talked about when you were 80 and like having made all the choices. But the you now and the you when you're 80 are not going to be the same person. Your anxiety now could easily turn into depression then, because and depression and anxiety are the same side, they're the same coin, different sides of the same coin is what I meant to say. And that mindset now that is anxiety about the future and making the right choice could easily turn into regret about not making a choice or making a wrong choice or what ifs when you're 80. And the more work you do now on grounding yourself, I do a lot of sports. I just got back from doing Peloton class. I do pickleball. I golf with a childhood friend that actually was very close with David and I as well growing up. I do pickleball. I've already said that. I surf. And more than anything, I would like to focus on, harp on the meditation and relaxing your mind, which can be hard to do. The reason I do so many sports is because I find traditional meditation very difficult, to just sit and be still and to not think about anything. But I find the more I exercise, the easier it is to meditate. And sometimes you get into that flow state during a sport where you can meditate and you just have the natural action of doing the sport because it's a very repetitive motion and you've done it so long, you have that muscle memory, and you can just shut your body, your body's doing the work, but your brain is just thinking about doing the action and it's not thinking about all the decisions you have to make and the stress in your day. But try to focus on the now. Don't focus on the future too much. Focus on baby steps. Focus on what you can control. And I don't want this to come off as mansplaining. I just want it to come off as what's helped me throughout the years, because like I said again, I felt very similar when I was that age. I had the world at my fingertips and I felt very overwhelmed about the choices and what I needed to do and what was the right thing to do. And sometimes life, will kind of give you a reality check. And hopefully it's not as crazy a reality check as I had to go through. Even now I still have little life lessons. I currently work for the federal government remotely, and this current administration recalled me. I was living in one place. I had to break my lease, broke up with a girlfriend, and prepared to move back to DC. And then 3 days before I was supposed to move, they said I didn't have to move back to DC, but I didn't have a lease anymore and didn't have a place to stay, so I had to move in with my mom at 30 years old, which was not the plan. and I didn't want to make a decision because I thought I might be still recalled to the office, but they never ended up recalling us. I didn't want to mainly go back because it's very expensive to live there compared to where I'm living now in Florida, and I'm closer to my family now. I ended up getting my own place, so I'm doing it a lot better than I was doing. But yeah, I've had to learn how to be very patient, and there's been changes, there's been issues with pay. I've had to get an attorney. Our union rights were taken away. They're fighting that in the courts. There's a ton of court stuff going on, and we still don't have any more answers than I did at the beginning of the year. And so I'm trying to live life in a day-to-day manner and not focus on things that I can't control, because it's not healthy. So I focus on my sports, my friends, my family, trying to go on dates with people, being involved in community helped me a lot too, and being grounded. Even you can get involved in community groups like DSA. If politics isn't your thing, you can get involved in volunteer groups like Rotaract or the Junior League, or like there's a ton of different volunteer organizations. And yeah, it might take a little bit of work if in your area there aren't any organizations like that, but you can start one, and you can advertise on social media, and slowly you'll get people who are looking to get involved in community work, whether that's volunteering. It could be even something like volunteering at an animal shelter. I don't know what you like to do, but there's tons of stuff out there. And if you can't do any of those things because of like your thoughts, then I would highly encourage you, if you're not already, to go to therapy, because therapy helps a lot in not letting your thoughts control your actions, and helping you stay grounded, and helping you be present and live your life day to day, so that when you are 80, you don't have that anxiety doesn't turn into depression. Hope that helped. Hope my 2 cents were interesting, and have a good rest of your week.